Hey, Meeple people, and on today's vlog, we're playing Mountain Goats by BoardGameTables.com. This is a 2 to 4 player game and takes about 20 minutes to play, and we thank them, BoardGameTables.com, for providing us this copy. This is a copy they provided for us while we were at Gen Con, which was really cool. So let's get into it. So now Sarah's going to go ahead and do a quick overview of the game so you can see what we'll be doing in Mountain Goats.
Hi. In Mountain Goats, we control these little mountain goats, and they are each racing to the tops of these numbered mountains here in an attempt to score points, which you get by getting to the top of a mountain. What you're going to do is on your turn, you're going to roll these 4 dice right here, and then you're going to use these dice to make number combinations. You can make any number combinations that you want to, but obviously the only ones that matter are the numbers 5 through 10. So I'm going to use these dice. Maybe I use these 2 to make an 8 and these 2 to make a 7, or maybe I decide to make a 5 and a 10. I can use these however I want to, but once I've got my dice allocated, I'm going to move up 1 mountain goat on that matching mountain. So here, if I use this 5, I'm going to move my mountain goat up 1 space on the number 5 mountain. And here where I've got the 10, I would move my mountain goat up 1 space on the number 10 mountain. Thank you, Nick, for the assist. What's going to happen then is it will be the next player's turn. They'll do the same thing, roll the dice, allocate them, and move their goats up the particularly numbered mountain. When any goat reaches the top of a mountain, they get a numbered chip from that mountain. Now, these are going to be worth points at the end of the game, and if you collect an entire set of each one of the numbers here, you'll get the largest available bonus tile. These are also going to be part of the way that the end game is triggered. If any 3 of these piles are out, or if all of these are gone, then that is going to be one of the 2 ways that the game ends. At that point, we just add up all of our points and see who has the most points. That player wins. There's only one thing I didn't tell you about, and that is when you're allocating your dice. If you ever have more than 1, the first one has to be a 1, but then the second one, you can change this to any result you want. So if this was my roll here, I would have to use this as a 1, but then I could make this number any number I want to use when I'm allocating my dice. And I think that's just about everything you need to know about mountain goats. Should we give it a try?
Yes, we shall. All right, we're gonna get back to mid-game of this game of Mountain Goats. So we'll see y'all in a sec. Welcome back, people, and we are at the mid-game of Mountain Goats, and it is it's pretty tight, I think. I don't know how much points Sarah has right now, but we both have a bonus, and let me just go ahead and show you the board real quick, and then maybe get some commentary from Sarah. What do you think is going on so far, Sarah?
Hi there. So currently Nick occupies the top of 4 of the 6 mountains. And if you are at the top of a mountain and you would move on that mountain again, you just, instead of moving, you get the bonus as if you had just moved to the top of the mountain. So in 4 of the 6 mountains, if Nick were to move up on any of those mountains, he would just get the bonus for that mountain anyway. So that's kind of a dangerous position for me because it means that he can pretty easily just accumulate points by not really doing a whole heck of a lot. And meanwhile, like, a lot of my goats are kind of down at the bottom of most of the mountains. That kind of flipped. It was me at the majority of the tops of the mountains for a while, and then it sort of flipped, and now it's him. I'm feeling pretty good, though, for the most part, because I do think I have more points than he has. I have more tokens than he does, but he does have some higher value tokens than I do. But my bonus is worth more than his, and I'm a little further on my way to accumulating more bonuses than he is at this time. So I feel okay. So far we haven't depleted the points from any one mountain. but we have depleted half of the bonus points. So remember what I said at the beginning is if you deplete the points from any 3 mountains, or if all the bonus points are gone, then that's the one of the 2 ways that the game can end. So we're probably about halfway through the game as far as the bonus tokens, half of them being gone at this point, but none of the mountains have been fully depleted. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. I feel not bad right now. I don't feel like I've got it in the bag or anything like that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So yeah, I feel like it's at anybody's game right now, and we'll just have to see what the future rules hold out for us. But this is a nice little game for the table.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's fun.
yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get back into it, and we'll get back to you guys in a second. Welcome back, Meeple people, and the game is done now, and I am the winner. And yeah, so it was a difference in score. We're not going to get into total points, but this is an interesting one. It's a light game, but we were talking about it while we were playing, and we do feel like it kind of overstays its welcome at 2 players, just because there are so many point pieces at each one, so it seems like you're always trying to get up with so many. And I even think there's somewhat of a runaway problem in a 2-player game, because if someone is able to stay at one top, like at top of the mountain for so long and just continue getting all those points.
To be honest with you, though, I don't know that I agree. Just because, so if you notice that someone is at the top of a mountain and they're able to accumulate a lot of points by staying there, then I think what you should do is try to knock them off the top of the mountain, right? And
but what if the dice are evil, Sarah?
They were, and that's what happened to me. I have this very small little collection of points here to Nick's ginormous collection of points. So I understand that, and there may be an issue there, but I'm not entirely sure that that's accurate. I think you just need to adjust your strategy and try to combat their massive.
But how can you strategize with probability?
I don't know. I did try that, but I think I did it too late. There's a point at the game, in the early to mid game, where it's kind of just just collect as many points as you can. I don't really care which mountain they come from. But then in mid to late game, you're like, okay, now I have a decent collection of some random point tokens. If I can start to fill in the gaps in my collection so that I can get the bonus points for having one of each, then that's good. So what I was doing was mid to late game, I was focusing on trying to flesh out my collections. But I think maybe I should have tried to implement that strategy a little sooner, because Nick got 3 of the 4 bonus point tokens in the game. And while they were all lower in value than the one that I got, the fact that he got 3 and I only got 1, I think made a pretty big difference. Plus, he got all of the point tokens needed to get those bonus point tokens. So I think I needed to pivot my strategy a little sooner in the game than I did. And even though this is a dice-driven game, even though this is fairly luck-based as far as the dice go, I feel like there is some strategies to saying, how you actually allocate those dice. So I don't know that I feel like there is a runaway leader problem. There may be, but I would need more data to actually state that empirically.
I just think there's a possibility of it coming up within a game, just because maybe just towards the end, especially maybe even in just a 2-player scenario. We were talking and we were saying, well, why couldn't they take some of the token chips away for 2 players and make it make the game less, but also like shorter, and then also not have what I think maybe become a runaway leader problem towards the end of the game, because at the end is when I really started to get a lot of my points. And that just might have been luck of the dice. And again, probability. It might have just been the dice were like, yay, Nick, no, Sarah. And that's, because you can't control that. And there's no dice mitigation within the game, except if you roll more than 1-1.
I do think dice mitigation would be an interesting part of the game that doesn't currently exist in the game, other than the ones. Maybe if you rolled multiples of any number, not just one, but any number, you could I don't know, do something about that. Or maybe maybe you could like turn in a token you've already claimed in order to manipulate the dice that way or something like that. But I do think there is something to be said for kind of just having to use what you've got, right? Like you have these 4 dice and that's all you got. Make something work. And I do think that there is like an interesting sort of puzzle there where you're like, okay, well, Nick's at the top of the number 8 mountain. If I let him stay there for too long, like he'll get a lot of points by being able to do that. But, and I can, use this dice combination to move a little bit up the number 8 mountain if I want to, but I won't get any points for that right now. Whereas if I use my dice to get this and this, then I could get some points. So I do think it presents some rock and a hard place type decisions, because there is no dice mitigation. So I don't know. I feel like it would be fun to see some sort of like optional expansion where it introduces dice manipulation, but you could play without it if you wanted that more challenging, like, this is what you got to do something with it. But like Nick said, I do think for 2 players, it does overstay its welcome just a bit. It says 20 minutes on the box, but I think it takes longer than that with 2 players. And there is nothing in the rules about reducing anything based on the player count. So like we use the same number of total point tokens for a 2-player game as you would as a 4-player game. And I think that's just maybe a little too many. I would say like maybe take like 3 off of every stack and try that, and it would be a game like length that would be, I think, more appropriate to the theme and the mechanics here and stuff like that. For what we're doing here, it doesn't feel like it should take quite as long as it does. And I would say that even if I hadn't gotten my face completely beat into the ground.
But with that, there's not each stack is not the same amount. So each stack has a different amount of tokens. So you would have to get into more of like, okay, so how many 5s can you have versus how many 10s you could have, and then that would accelerate the game in such a way. And we're spitballing all these ideas, but in the sense for Mountain Goats, this is just kind of just a simple game. You roll the dice, you take what actions you can, you strategize as much as you can, because I feel like if we start adding all these extra things and homebrewing some things, that some analysis paralysis could set in and people could be a little like struggling with their choices. But yeah, so I mean, this is a good little game from BoardGameTables.com. We're very thankful that when we were at Gen Con, they gave us a review copy for this, and we have another one of their games coming up too in a future vlog. But yeah, so all right. Well, I would say this is a great game for people that want simple dice rolling, and it's beautiful artwork. It's very it's not like the complexity of the artwork it's more just like basic, and that's nice. Sometimes you don't have to have the intense detail and graphics. I think just the premise of just a simple kind of artwork is nice. Any closing thoughts for you?
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like they were generous with the components as well. Like it's a pretty simple game, but like there's plenty of everything, right? And then also like these cards, they're pretty big. Even if we were playing a 4-player game, I feel like they could have made these smaller if they had chosen to. But they went with the larger size cards, which is nice. And they also went with, like shaped meeples, these little goat meeples. And the dice are nice, good, chunky, quality dice, that kind of stuff. So I feel like the production quality is definitely here. And I think the price point was pretty inexpensive for what you get. So I think that it's a well-produced game. And I do think my singular gripe with it at all is that it just overstays its welcome just a little bit at 2.
Yeah, not much at all.
But really, I think there's ways to mitigate that. And like Nick talked about, obviously they've play tested this, they've run it through the gamut, and this is what they came out with. And there's probably reasons why, right? But for me personally, it was just a little too long of an experience for a 2-player game of this weight and caliber. But yeah, otherwise it was super fun. It was simple. It's I don't know, there's something kind of satisfying about kicking another player's goat off the top of a mountain.
Super satisfying.
And it's neat. It's a neat little game. I would check it out if I were you, especially if you like dice rolling, if you like competitive games, or if you like goats.
All right, that's it for this vlog. We'll catch y'all next time. Toodles!